Good day, good day, everyone. And he starts talking about me, but there's something likable about him. Maybe he'll come on my show. Maybe we can talk. But like, tell me what I got wrong, bro.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
You and Glaze?
Yeah.
Because Glaze has a hell of a story.
Yeah, I reached out to him at one point. We talked about doing something, and then it just kind of fell off. But yeah, his career on the street kind of ended when all this other shit started, like the newer rap stuff right. He was more like the old days with Run DMC kind of era and all that. But he was a bad guy on the street, right. Legitimate bad guy.
Oh, okay. And they one or more had cooperated. Everybody, the eBay, all those guys, they were done. So anyway, he's done, and so I always felt like it's funny is if 50 Cent gave Tut money when he got out, like it's kind of ridiculous. Like here we are, we saved 50's ass. I can't tell you how many times. Like 50 and his crew, if they could tell you how many times they had violent confrontations. There's stuff that happened that I became aware of that was just like,
you don't think
they're lucky they're alive.
Anything you can mention?
No, not really. But we also went after McGriff. We went after World and stuff. So, I think 50 should send me a Christmas present. Because he's giving this fucking crook 250. I got to be worth $1 million, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, 50 Cent, if you watch this, send me some love. But anyway, yeah, then there's the whole Jimmy Henchman side. We got rid of Jimmy for him, too. So, I mean, it's like...
Did you work the Jimmy Henchman case?
So, I was working Jimmy...
Hey, good day, y'all. Thank you for joining me. Just in case you're joining me for the very first time, I am the real Brian Glaze Gibbs. Listen, I want y'all to listen to former NYPD detective Bill Courtney. Bill Courtney and Al Prophet is doing an interview. And Bill Courtney is speaking about, some of these ex-gangsters that was beefing with rappers. So he speak about World Hardy. He speak about, Jimmy Henchman. And also all the beef that 50 Cent had. And even with that being said, he says something that I thought was kind of crazy. Whereas, as much shit he saved 50 Cent and G Unit from, that 50 owe him a bag. Man, hold up. Ain't your job was to serve and protect? So how the hell anybody owe you anything when you just doing your job? Then for some reason, he went on to say something about Walter King Tut Johnson. He's under the impression that when Tut came home, that 50 gave him $250,000. So something, he went on and say, look, if 50 gave this crook $250,000, 50 owe him at least $1 million. So when y'all sit back and y'all think about it and y'all listen to some of these individuals and their mindset, why in the hell he feel that 50 owe him anything? And why in the hell he feel, or where did he get the information from that 50 gave Tut $250,000? A lot of times what people do is they believe the hype and they assume, and they jump the gun, they jump the conclusion. Because there's no facts to that. From my understanding, 50 ain't giving nobody 250. Look, 50 had Cuban links. And even right now, when he had Cuban link, what he did, he lost her. Why? Because he said she asked him for how much money? And he turned her down? So that was his girl. So if he's turning his girl down on giving her any type of real paper, why the hell you think he gonna give a dude, you know what I'm saying, that's not giving him no booty, that don't owe him anything, he gonna give him 250? So listen to the clip and I'll be back. Big Bill, you just sound bitter, man. You sound very, very bitter, man. If anything, what you should do is, honestly speaking, man, you should basically reach out to 50 Cent yourself and tell him, listen, man, you owe me because I saved you from Jimmy Henchman, I saved you from World Hardy, and I saved you from Supreme. So based upon me putting all your enemy in the prison, guess what? You owe me. You owe me. And I guarantee you, you might get a response, man. So once again, let that man know how you really feel. Because you're going from platform to platform saying that he owe you. Send him an invoice. You might get paid. Hey, hit the like button, subscribe, share, support. I am the real Brian Glaze Gibbs. If I can change, anybody could change. One love.
Brian had associated himself with probably the most ruthless and notorious cocaine crack enterprise in the city, that being Howard Pappy Mason and Lorenzo Fat Cat Nichols.
NYPD rookie police officer was murdered, executioner style. And as I'm listening to that, I'm like, whoa.
You actually dealt with Brian Glaze Gibbs, huh?
I dealt with him years ago, back in the 80s, early 90s. I was with he was arrested by my partner back in those days for several murders himself.
Not bad. I was given to me by a police officer in New York called Matt Byrne, whose son was gunned down by these drug dealers up there in New York City.
Glaze was probably within the top 10 people in the city, but I'm going to say that he was probably one of the top 2 or 3 in Brooklyn. Drug dealers, and controlled the drug organization.
And you know what I did? When I got the phone, I told my man, the next time we see him, he's out of here.
Yeah.
Less than 12 hours, that nigga was dead.
Is this the second person you murdered?
No. Because, like right now, if you're going by the timeline, by that time, there's a few more before him.
You know, I heard so many good things about you. What I really like is, I know you're a tough guy. And I've known that for quite a while, and you changed your life, and you're coming around, and you're right. We're from New York, and we're New Yorkers. No matter what color you are, no matter what religion you are, no matter what you are, you know, we're New Yorkers.
Well, he was a drug kingpin himself. He was a drug lord himself back in those days, and he operated out of Brooklyn, East New York, and you know, he committed a lot of violent acts himself. So, if anybody knows the streets, I mean, he knows the streets.
Tottenham.
Yeah, you gotta worry about them guys. But we only have to worry about those guys in Vanderveer and stuff. You know, we all knew Glaze and Tutton, all those guys.
Yeah.
I know Glaze, Supreme Team. What up, Glaze? You know what I'm saying?
Okay, inside the mind of the killer, the Brian Glaze Gibbs story.
My mom used to tell me about the good old days. Gucci velour suits, nice cars and rope chains. A time in the place where everybody had a hustle. Some people had brains, some people had muscle. Some people had both, a dangerous combination. A couple steps ahead of any sticky situation. Know when to make the move and know when to stay and be patient. And just because your flesh and blood doesn't make you related. She used to tell me a story about the amazing Glaze. Him and your pop